Good evening folks and welcome, and this is probably going to be just a quick video if there is such a thing from me, but what we're going to do, this is the Bush radiogram that I got from Jay over at Jay's Vintage Junk. I don't know what model this is, but it does use the AC41 chassis, but obviously that won't be the model of this. They'll have given it a different model. And anyway, as you can see, zoom in a little bit if I can. There we go. There we are. As you can see, the Gaddard RC75 is back in, and it's been serviced. It's all been done. I've got to get another knob for it because that's the wrong knob. I really want a chicken head. Anyway, if I just put this onto, that there. Oh, there, I want that down. Put that onto, no, we want that up. Put that onto 33 1/3. There we go. Or if you're in Ireland, it's 33 1/3. Or 33 1/3. It's like King Richard, isn't it? The Irish know him as Dick Shit. You know, Richard the Turd. Yeah, I love the Irish. I think they're brilliant. Top people. Friendly as well, most of them. All the Irish I've ever come across have always been friendly. And I'll tell you another thing and all, you know, they're not scared of buying you a pint. I was at a bar one, I was in a pub one, I was in the Green End pub in Burnage, and, because I live in Manchester, well I live in Stockport, but I've got a friend who lives over that way. And he said, meet me in there, so I said, right, so I went up, and I was still at the bar. I was just about to order my pint, and I was talking to this Irish fella, and he says, what you having? I says, a pint of bitter, and he bought me a pint of bitter. Didn't even know him. You know, and yeah. Mind you, there's a rumour about the Scots being tight, but they're not. I'll tell you who the real tight ones are, and you know, I really mean it. The real tight ones are Yorkshire people. You know, now they really have got a grip on a pound. They really have. I mean, you know, when a Yorkshireman dies, they're too tight, they don't even put pennies on his eyes. Anyway, I like Yorkshire people as well. I like everybody. I like everybody. You know, life's too short not to, isn't it? Anyway. I'm only joking, I like everybody. I think everybody's brilliant. You know, but there we go. Anyway, we've got the LP on here, so let's start it going. I'm going to play the second track, but I'll let it drop on the first track. And there we go. Yeah, let's move it to the second track. This LP is a bit knackered, by the way, because it's been used for testing, so might not be the best sound. Move it to the end. Just check there's no crap on the needle, stylus rather. There we go. Right, let's give you a brief listen to 45. Oops. And then we'll do that, and then I'll explain what else I want to do. Well, what else needs to be done. 7-inch. There we go. Right. Oh, I forgot to change the speed. There we go. Ah, I've put it on 10-inch. There we go. Right. Should we try this again, folks? That sounds a lot better.
Because my baby, she gave me the word today.
I won't let it play anymore because hey, I got a copyright strike today on a video that I put up months ago. I'm getting fed up of this fucking copy strike. Do you know what someone needs to do? Someone needs to start another channel similar to YouTube, and you know, if they do it right, I'd move all my videos across to there. You know, so somebody set up another channel that was fucking better, I'd move all my videos overnight. There was another channel, but it got fucking put out of business. I can't remember what it was called. Someone will know. Dave from the EEV blog mentioned it once because he had some videos on there. Right, well, what I'll do, I'll go through this now and show you exactly what is wrong with it. We'll start off with the fact the tone doesn't work. There's a bit of a hiss on the gram. So I don't know what's causing that. But the same hiss is on shortwave. If I move it to shortwave, only it's worse on there, mind you. We're not getting anything on shortwave. Move it to medium wave. See, this is what Jay was on about. That whistle.
Out of curiosity, don't tell me which way
The radio works.
But if you had...
Must be over 16 times and conditions apply. Please pay responsibly. Become aware.
Let's just lift the aerial up.
3 down on Talk Sport with Rated People, the home of rated tradespeople. Join Adrian Durham and Darren Goff every Monday as they rate the weekend's best 3 sports performances and berate the worst 3. It's a hot debate of who stood out.
Failed. Sport now, and Scott Parker's taken over as caretaker manager of Fulham after the Premier League struggle has
Go to long wave. Let's bring the aerial back up.
refused to lift all sanctions imposed in response to North Korea's nuclear program. Ri Yong-ho said his country had made realistic proposals, including the
That's all that's wrong with it.
of the Young Bion Nuclear Research Center under the watch of American observers. He said Pyongyang's position.
What did you pick up that? That's all that's wrong with just that whistle.
In April, the country's Attorney General has announced plans to bring charges against the Prime Minister, including accepting gifts from wealthy businessmen.
You can't hear it in it when it's on the station, so you know that needs to be attention. And as I say, the tone control doesn't work, so that's got to be dealt with. But get it off that quick. Everything else is spot on. I mean, the cabinet's in nice shapes, 1 or 2 marks on it, but you know, nothing serious. It's a lovely cabinet, I think. And the lights, the dial lights still work. Whether Jay replaced them, I don't know. But it would have to come out. Even if it was perfectly working, it would still have to come out. But Jay thinks it's a transformer, but you know, I'm sat on the fence, to be honest. I don't want to say he's wrong because he might not be, but I think it's a capacitor. But he said Jay told me that he recapped it, or he thinks he recapped it, but he can't remember. But I'll soon know when I pull the chassis, which will probably be over the weekend when I get round to that. Pull the chassis out, put it on the bench, and go through it. But this is done, and it's working lovely. It's still got the me yawning. It's still got the GP91 cartridge in it, which is staying in it. That'll stay with it now. I won't put another one in. There's no point. It's a mono cartridge, and I've got somebody interested in this, and the person who's interested in it is only going to be playing mono records on it, things like the 78s. So when I order the stylus, I'll have to order one with a 78 RPM tip on it, and you know, do it that way. But yeah, I'm you know, I'm happy with the way that deck turned out. Because at first when I saw that motor, yeah, because the motor wasn't in it when he brought it to me. He had the motor separate because he wanted to show me what he thought the issue was. You know, and anyway, he just didn't put the motor back in because he'd had to go getting it going. And he said, like, you know, Jay said, you know, I think the motor's, you know, I can't get the motor going. But, you know, I had a look and I couldn't, and rather than spend too much time on a motor, it was easier to do the conversion that I did. And, you know, so, you know, but I'm beginning to think that, you know, these decks, they were available with a DC motor, because back then some places had AC and DC. We had 2 voltages in Britain at one time. But let me find that motor. I want to just see if I can find it. The remains of it anyway. Let me just have a look, because there's a plate on the side of it, and it might tell me on there whether it's an AC or DC motor. If it's a DC motor, it won't work on AC. Oh, I wouldn't have thought it would. Let's have a look. Oh, it's both. It's AC or DC. It can work on. That's actually a Gaillard badge. It's actually a Gaillard motor. It's a U18. That badge unscrews. I'm gonna unscrew that before it goes to my mate Mick onto his scrap truck. I'm going to unscrew that badge. I'm going to keep that. So we'll take that badge off, because you You know, I'm actually really a Garrard man, and I tend to, you know, if I can see something that's not cheap, that's cheap, and I think it's worth me putting my money at and paying me money for it, I'll buy it. But one thing I won't touch a 301 or a 401, not because they're bad decks, they're not. But for what they are, they're well overpriced. I mean, people just take the piss when they're asking like what, £2,000 and £3,000 for them. Yeah, okay. Another thing I want to touch on, I hear it all the time, and I heard it again the other day. The SP25 Mark 1 sounds better than the SP25 Mark 2, 3 or whatever. It doesn't. It depends on what cartridge you put in it, because all them decks, they all share the same mechanism, and I think that mechanism was actually introduced. If someone correct me if I'm wrong, by all means. I think that mechanism was first introduced in the Auto Slim, which was an auto changer, as we know. And but I hear it all the time, you know, like people go on about how good the 301 sounds. The 301 doesn't sound anything. There's no bloody tone arm on it. It comes without a tone arm. Whatever tone arm and cartridge you put in, that's the sound you get. You know, and it usually comes from audiophiles, and as we all know, audiophiles, or to be more commonly audiophiles, they know nothing. I mean, they don't know anything. They just see a name, I mean, and they pay for it. I mean, come on, someone who pays about £100 for a lead, it's got to be crackers, hasn't they? There's got to be a few marbles rolling about, you know. But you know, 301s don't have a sound because they don't come with an arm. They sound like whatever arm or cartridge you decide to use. So if you use a cheap Crosley cartridge in one, not that anybody would, but if you did, it would sound shite. If you use something like a Shaw magnetic cartridge, you know, or an Autophon or something like that, it would sound great. The more you pay for the cartridge, the better the sound you get. I've got a cartridge in my Garrard Zero. It's an Autophon. I can't remember exactly which one it is. It's one of those dead thin, sort of pointy sort of ones. The stylus sort of just fits on the front. And I took that out of what did I take it out of? I took it out of some crappy deck. I took it out of some deck that I bought. I'm trying to think what it was. I can't remember what it was, but I took it out of a deck, and you know, I put that in that, and it sounds absolutely good. It sounds good enough for me. And I'm not an audiophile. I'm not an audiophile or audiophile. You know, I know what sounds good for me, and that's what I do. That's how I leave it. But I think you know, I think it's a myth that an SP25 Mark 1 will sound better than an SP25 Mark whatever. You know, they all sound the same. They've all got the same mechanism, and they use the same, you know, whatever cartridge you put in is the sound you get. I mean, admittedly, you know, if they're talking about things like Rumble, well, that's defunct again, because they all use the same bloody idler wheel. You know, I rebuilt an SP25 a few years ago, an SP25 Mark 4, and some of the bits came out of a scrap Auto Slim. I mean, the arm didn't, the idler did, the ball race did, the washers in between the ball race, they came from it. because I got the Garrard as scrap. The turntable obviously didn't, and somebody had some of the bits. The cammed drive gear that goes that drives the automatic mechanism, that came off the Auto Slim. You know, they're all the same mechanism. You know, Garrard found a formula that worked for them, and they weren't like BSR. BSR mechanisms were all different. You know, well, you know, the early ones, they were different. Then you got to the late 50s, and you got to the early 60s rather, and then they started to keep them the same for a few years, and then towards the end of the 60s they changed them again, and there was actually one that was different to all the rest. It looked like looked like a, what do you call it? It looked like a modern 70s deck, but it actually had a different mechanism. It looked like one of them BSRs that I rebuilt, only in white. And because I had one time, I haven't got it now, because if I still had it, I put it in a record player and sold it. If I still had it, I'd have done the strip down on it to show you what I mean. But it had quite a few differences to what the last BSRs had. You know, the last decent BSRs, not them bloody plastic things, or them horrible things that were put in the UA10S. They were hateful. But I'm not really a BSR man. You know, I'm a Garrard man. I love Garrard stuff. I just think it's brilliant. But you know, these rumours that these people who say this sounds better than that. Well, it will if you put a decent cartridge in it. But it's the cartridge that maketh the record player. And you know, it just makes me sit and think when people say something like that. What a plonker, you know. Anyway, that's what I wanted to touch up on. I was going to touch up on it last night, but I never got to it. But you know, I've got two SP25s in my disco console over there, and even them mechanisms, they're fairly late ones. And even them mechanisms, you know, you can take parts off them and put them in an Auto Slim. Well, the mechanism bits, you can't with the belt drives and stuff, because obviously the belt drive. But some of the mechanism parts would fit. They were all the same. I mean, like I said earlier, why change something that works so well? You know, but yeah, these, you know. If I ever do a video, let me say this: if I ever do a video on a Garrard 301 or 401, you can guarantee I got it dirt cheap, or I woke up one morning and Santa Claus had been early. You know, because I wouldn't pay that. I won't pay hundreds of pounds for one of them. You know, I just wouldn't, because you know, I just think they're overpriced. Some are hundreds of pounds, some are thousands of pounds. You know, people find one in the attic and think they found a gold mine. You know, not with me they haven't, because I won't pay that for them. I don't think they're worth it. I'm not going to say there's anything better out there. I don't believe there is. Because as far as I'm concerned, the best stuff is made in England. You know, definitely. I'm very patriotic. You know, Japanese turntables go in my home. Japanese turntables go down like a cup of sick. You know, and I've had a few over the years. I had a couple when I first moved in. I had, in fact, before I got my Garrard Zero, I actually had a rather nice Pioneer, but I very rarely used it because I don't really like Japanese turntables. I think they're just plasticky, because they're made out of plastic, and even with them, people go, well, yeah, this one sounds better than that, but you know, they don't. It depends on what cartridge you use. The cartridge is the heart of the system. You know, put a good one in, you get good results. Put a crap one in, then you know the answer. It's as simple as that. The mechanism has nothing to do with the sound, unless there's actually a fault. Then it can either be too fast or too slow, or it can be rumbly or whatever. Or if there's a noisy motor bearing, yes, that will interfere. But if everything's running as it should, in perfect working order, then one doesn't sound better than the other. It depends on the cartridge. It's as simple as that. And like I said before, feel free to leave your comment. If it's abuse, I'll delete you, and I'll make sure you're never able to access the channel again, like I said last night. This applies to them trolls. And if it's a valid comment, then that's fair enough. You know, but let's see how many audio fools pop up out the woodwork and tell me how wrong I am. When I know I'm right. Anyway, you all take care, my friends, and as usual, you know, from me to you, until the next time. And I don't know whether I'm going to do a video on this radio yet, because you know, you've already seen, you know, it's basically a Bush AC41. You see me do one of them. I think, did I do Old Bob's? Yeah, well, I worked on Old Bob's. I don't think I got it finished, so I might show it. If it's a fault I haven't seen before, and I think you need to know, then I'll do a quick video on a need to know basis. But you know, I like to think that my videos are educational and funny at the same time, and you know, I just think that everybody should be like that. You know, definitely. You know, have a bit of humour. Some do. I mean, some do. I mean, but there's a lot that don't. I mean, a lot of people take the YouTube thing very. And that I'm gonna leave it there. I'll catch you later, folks. You know, that's for another video. When I talk about the YouTube thing, that's for another. That's another video. And I'm gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna put me records back on, and I'm gonna enjoy this, and I've got somebody who's interested in it, so hopefully I won't be enjoying it for too long. You all take it easy, my friends, and you know, like I say, if you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so, and I will respond in the appropriate manner if I feel I need to respond. Thank you again. You all take it easy and have a good evening. See you later, folks. Bye for now.